And it's the skipper, George Johnson!
Saved off the post and then Alfie May follows up.
Just 3 games remain this season and Charlton are unbeaten in 12 matches, all but securing our status in League One for next season. It means, though, that Nathan Jones is going to want to end the season as strongly as possible. A sold-out away end travel to Cambridge this afternoon as Charlton travel to the Abbey Stadium to take on Gary Monk's side. The U's have had a successful Easter weekend, beating Barnsley and Wigan to put some space in between themselves and the relegation zone. A win for them today would put them in a very good position to retain their League One status. So there is plenty to play for, and with less than 45 minutes until kick-off, let's take a look at what we have coming up. We will hear from the main man, Nathan Jones. We'll continue our look back on successful promotion seasons with a look at Charlton's title-winning campaign in 1999/2000. And we will hear from midfield dynamo Connor Coventry. Well, this is a warm welcome wherever you're tuned in from across the world. A pleasure to have your company, as always. A quick reminder for our international addicts that you can purchase your matchday streaming pass for just £10. Enjoy the multi-camera angle production that we're going to bring you, half-time analysis, as well as full-time reaction in the company of my favourite punditry pair, a glowing punditry pair. Brownie's even got a bit of a tanned look today. Steve Brown and Alan Curbishley. I would go so far as to say so, Brownie.
Okay, all right. Now you're going red.
Yeah, that's not tan. It's blush.
How was your holiday? Very kind of you to come back to join us today.
It was very good. Yeah. Factor 50 works quite well.
It's good to see.
I don't like burning, so I can't stand it.
Keeping you
and
safe.
we're off to the regatta after, aren't we? Hey?
I just need my glass of champagne, which I'm hoping you might provide post-match, and then that will complete the outfit. Curbs, we enjoyed the midweek game on Tuesday, a 2-2 draw. Positives from it, but equally from a defensive point of view, some things that Nathan will want to see improved upon today.
Well, we're still clamouring for that clean sheet, aren't we? And you know, I think Nathan has identified where he wants to go, and you know, in terms of in the summer, people in, people out. Hopefully, he can do that. But one of the things that I'm sure he's got to be working on in the summer is defensively. You know, you can't keep scoring 2 goals to get a point. You know, we've got to start tightening up at the back without losing that going forward. So yeah, you know, and I'll be interested. I know we've been talking off air about the team selection today, but you know, I'll be interested to see how he goes, because as I was driving in thinking about it, you know, you've got a couple of games left. There's a couple of players he needs to see to make his mind up. It's okay in training, but he needs to see him in a game.
18 draws this season, far too high a number. Brownie, it was perhaps just as well you weren't here on Tuesday evening, because from a defensive point of view, we had this strange 10-minute period in the game where we were otherwise quite dominant, weren't we, Curbs? But the defending for both goals perhaps highlighted that whilst the form's improved and 12 unbeaten at any level is good, there's some things that are still going to be having to be worked on into the summer. Yeah,
I mean, I've obviously gone back over the highlights since I've got back, and you know, obviously Chuck Smith is an absolute sitter, and everybody will look to that and go, "Oh, Chuck, so you can't be conceding goals like I saw."
Well, the one that got me was when Gillespie's had to come all the way. He's a left-sided centre back,
that's the one.
And he's had to come all the way across, go past other centre backs to try and stop it.
They're 15 yards up the pitch, and there's a gap from right wing back to Gillespie at left-sided centre half. It's got to be 50 yards. And both centre halves are within a yard of each other, and I can't explain to you what goes through a centre half's head that thinks that that's a good position to be in. We're both going to go for it. There's no communication. They both go up. One pass beats them all, and they're running through this 50-yard gap at our goalkeeper, and he nearly makes it. Gillespie. It comes off his leg, I think, and deflects past. Yeah, but you know, I don't know what was said. I didn't see the show, so I don't want to say what Nathan was said. But there's no way a manager can come out. He can't be too critical. We can say it's not very good defending, etc., etc. But he's worked on that back line since he's got here. You can tell he has. and they're still doing that. So if they're still doing that after you've worked with them, you know, how many looks can you give people? I'm with you. You've got to keep looking. You've got to keep looking because, you know, there's 3 or 4 games left. But I don't know what tells you as a centre half that that's where you go. I can't explain it.
It was interesting because in his post-match interview, Nathan Jones compared the draws against Stevenage and Wigan and said that he was raging, I think was the word that he used after the Stevenage game, which arguably we did get a clean sheet. But what he liked about the Wigan game was the way that we finished the match so strongly and were creating more chances. Curbs, if you were to put yourself in Nathan's shoes a couple of months ago, coming into a struggling side, it feels like he's stopped the rot. He's got us creating more chances, but the third pillar is just that defensive solidity.
No, since he's come in, obviously the record's super. You know, we were looking over our shoulder and really concerned. So he's arrested that. And I think there's a confidence that's come back, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. I think the board have had a lot to do with that because they backed him and players coming in. We've got a big squad. So I'll be really interested to see what goes on in the summer. He's obviously got his eyes, because he's been in the game, you know, and knows the league, etc. He's obviously got his eyes on players that he really fancies and maybe has worked with before. So yeah, we've been saying there's been too much, perhaps upheaval over the last couple of seasons. New managers, loads of players coming in and big squad. I think we're going to have another summer of that. Possibly, because people have got to go. We've got too many players, and he'll want to bring at least 3 or 4 players in, and then it needs settling down after that. Hopefully, he brings the players in, we get off to a good start, and everyone gets a bit confident, and then we progress. But I think we've got one more summer of a lot of ins and outs.
Brownie, let's talk quickly about today's hosts, because Cambridge are battling for their lives and their status in the division. But interestingly enough, if they win both of their games in hand over us, we're on exactly the same level of points. So, again, from Nathan's point of view and the squad's point of view, there is still plenty to be played for this 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, take this fixture aside and put it to the left. It's about the unbeaten record he's got. He'll want to keep that intact, no matter what, I think, because Curbs has said this before. There's a selling point in the summer. We finished strong. We were this. We were that. We beat. You know, we drew Portsmouth, beat this team, that team. So that'll be in Nathan's mind. And actually, what you want to do is put this season to bed. So you want to keep Cambridge down there, and you want to push us away from it. So the win's very much on his mind today, and that unbeaten record. But yeah, I'd always rather have the points than the games. So you said if they win both, but if they lose both, you know, and you've got, I think they've got Port Vale. I think I wrote down yesterday, last game of the season, and that could be massive by the time you get around to that.
I always get a little bit of a chill when I think of Cambridge. Why? Well, John Beck and that.
Yeah, John Beck, yeah. You know, I mean, that was,
Well, you know, going there and the showers were cold and the dressing rooms were freezing, and
he used to waterlog the corners almost.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the ball would just go
and stop. You
Make
know,
you feel really welcome.
Well, he just couldn't get out.
To be fair, he was a bit of a cultured midfield player, but then when he went into management, it changed, and it was a very difficult place to go to. But every time I think of Cambridge, you know, you used to be very aware. Like you go into the dressing room and it could be all soaking wet on the floor. You know, just because any little trick, any little trick to upset you.
Any competitive advantage, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, anyway.
Well, look, let's hear from manager Nathan Jones now. He spoke to Charlton TV earlier this week.
I mean, 12 unbeaten, so many positives to take from that run and in the draw on Tuesday night. But from a management or coaching perspective, watching us control the game for 75, 80 minutes must have been pleasing. But the sort of 10 or 15 minutes where we conceded, is that equally as important to see, because it shows what we still need to do to continue to move forward?
Oh, absolutely, but I don't think anyone's sat here or we've said that we're like anywhere near a finished article yet. What we're doing, we're having to build something now. At the minute, we've stopped, or we've not lost a lot of games, and that's a good thing. That's a positive. Now we're creating lots of chances as well and showing we can score, but we won't do anything special if we can't keep clean sheets and if we can't put in a performance over 90 minutes that has concentration, that has discipline, and you know, does all the basics, defensive principles that we work on day in, day out. Now, look, we have to make sure that we do that and make sure that we keep more clean sheets, because clean sheets means that you will get points, and then the goals you create and the chances you create and the goals you score will mean that you get wins. So there, you know, it's a collaboration with everything. You have to do both sides of the game. If you don't, then unless you are some extra special team, you won't achieve what you want to do.
We've got 3 games to go. Safety, although not mathematically certain, is well within our grasp. And also with the injury to Nate Watson on Tuesday night and having to play Kane Ramsey longer than you wanted, are you considering or tempted to experiment with the squad in the remaining games?
No, we want to finish the season strong, so it's not about experimenting, it's about making sure that we pick teams that firstly are respectful to everyone else. I've actually been told it's mathematical, but I don't know because of the permutations that people play each other and everything. I'm not sure how but that won't change our approach one iota. It won't change the players' approach, or if it does, that'd be quickly eradicated. First and foremost, people have stuff to play for. You know, we've still got something to play for. So is Cambridge, so is Shrewsbury, and Wycombe will want to finish as high as possible. So first and foremost, for the legitimacy, but the credibility really of the league, we want to finish as strong as we possibly can. We want to show that we can finish a lot higher than where we started. So that'll be the fundamental thing for us. So we treat each game as it comes. We'll prepare for Cambridge, and we'll want to win our game against Cambridge. And then whatever happens, we'll debrief, and we'll have a week to prepare for our final home game of the season, where we'll want to win that, and then the process starts again.
Yeah, Cambridge, as you say, at the Abbey Stadium, who themselves need points for safety. They've had a poor run of results, but have also recently had wins over Barnsley and Wigan. So it's a recipe for a tough game, but equally we'll be carrying a lot of confidence going into it.
Well, all we can be concerned about is us, and that's all we'll do. We'll prepare our team for a tough test away at Cambridge. It's never easy going to Cambridge. And they've got a new manager who, would have taken a bit of time to implement certain stuff, but then are showing that they can get results now. You know, I've watched their games. I've watched the Barnsley game, watched the Wigan game where they won both, watched the Blackpool game where they narrowly lost. So, you know, it shows that Gary's doing a good job there because he's getting something out of them. Now, Cambridge is a fantastic football club, and a lot of people there, but we're only concerned with us, and we can't worry about Cambridge, we can't worry about anyone else. We have to be concerned about being the best version of ourselves.
We've waxed lyrical in the past already about our support, especially on the road, and it'll be another sellout travelling crowd on Saturday to back the team. They'll have a painful memory of what happened against Cambridge. You weren't here, of course, but a painful memory against Cambridge at the Valley, relinquishing a 2-goal lead very late on, so the fans will be wanting to get one out of them.
Well, look, I think it's a lovely game for the fans. You know, Cambridge is a wonderful place, you know, in terms of going to visit, and it's not some of the journeys they've had to do, you know. Cheltenham on a Tuesday night, Derby on a Tuesday night, all the way up to Bolton, Fleetwood on a windy, terrible day. This Saturday in April would be a slightly more pleasant affair, you'd imagine, and I'm delighted that they're turning out in force again, because we can fill that away end behind the goal. Of real fond memories of managing against Cambridge, and we'll want another positive performance and a positive result. That's what we want, and we want them to play their part in that, but for us to give them something to really get behind.
And just finally for me, must congratulate yourself and Alfie on being nominated for the March League One Awards. It's a nice recognition of what we've achieved since you've arrived.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to sit there. The classic cliche line is it's all to do with the players and this and the other, which is true, because if they don't get results, then you don't get the accolades. But it's always nice, But the most important thing is, you know, if someone said to me, well, you're going to get nominated for the March Manager of the Month at the beginning of March, I would have been delighted, because it would meant that we would have gone through the month and got points. And it's usually based on points and certain things, so it means we would have got more points than those in and around us, unless the four behind, the three other managers below me, whatever, got points, got the nomination as well. So the pleasing thing is we've got points, which means that we've achieved the first phase of our short-term goal, which was to make sure that we aren't, and we're still a League One club at the end of the season.
Good to hear from manager Nathan Jones there. And here is the team news. Some changes made. Connor Wickham will make his first start for the Addicts in this afternoon's game against Cambridge United. Tyreek Backinson and Tyrese Campbell also start as Nathan Jones makes a total of 3 changes from the team that drew with Wigan Athletic in midweek. It's really interesting, actually. So not sure if it's going to be a 3-5-2, a 4-diamond-2, or even a 3-4-3. But, Curbs, you said to me midweek he has to see Connor Wickham play, and he's been handed that start.
Yeah, you know, he's obviously impressed in training. That's why he's still there. But you've got to see him in a game. And, you know, I'm looking at that side. I think that Dobbo and Coventry will probably be holding midfield players, and Backinson will be going up to join them. Yeah, and Anderson playing right wing back, if that's the case.
Yeah, he slotted in there, Brownie, a couple of weeks ago. I think I can't even remember what game it is. There've been so many in quick succession, but some strength and depth on that bench as well, which we've been saying for a long time. Wondering if there'll be some cameos later on. But if you're the golden boot, if you're chasing that golden boot, Alfie's going to be gutted not to be starting today.
Gutted's kind, I think. I think he's going to be raging, to be brutally honest. You got away at Cambridge, who, let's be honest, I think they conceded 6 and 4, didn't they, recently? And I know they've steadied the ship a little bit, but you've got to be looking at this game as a striker thinking, there's a couple of goals in this for me, and he's finds himself on the bench. So he'll be extremely disappointed, is the best way I can put it. But it's circumstance, as Curb says. You've got to look at players.
But there's a couple missing there, Carney.
Yeah, Carney's not even in the squad. So
And Freddie.
Yeah, but you've got to look at Wickham, and you've got you know, and Campbell up front is the one I think everyone will go, well, hold on, you know, but where else do you play? And we don't play with natural wingers. Could you have slotted in at right wing back?
Unless that ain't the line, unless that ain't the formation.
When you said, you know, Diamond, you're thinking, okay, so Anderson pops in there and Backinson at the top, and who's right back? That's the question. You know, does Small come across to right back and Thomas to left back? You know,
I think we'll
try and figure it out in a few minutes.
I think it'll be a little bit different. Maybe 4-3-3. Who knows?
Yeah.
Do you think that's in response to perhaps the way that Cambridge are going to be setting up? Because under their manager, they've been on a good little run of recent. He's made 3 changes, one of them being Macaulay Bonne, who starts. He hasn't scored a goal yet. And I know there's going to be Charlton supporters who know we have an awful record, don't we? An awful track record of former players scoring against us. But in all seriousness, he is a player that will have a point to prove. He scored for Gillingham, didn't he, in the FA Cup against us earlier on in the season. So the centre-backs are going to have to be on their toes.
Well, they are. But I never worried about. I didn't. If they score, they score. You know, you go out with your platform, how you're going to play, and your job. If I'm playing centre half against Macaulay Bonne, I just want to win that battle, win that duel, and make sure we're in best place to keep a clean sheet. Sadly, we're sort of 20 without a clean sheet away from home, so there is a strong possibility he's going to get a chance at some stage today, which won't go down well with the faithful that have travelled. But you can't worry about that when you're stepping on the pitch. You just can't. It's your job. Win your battle. And if you're winning your battle, then it's about helping your mate next to you and controlling your unit. So if he scores, good luck to him, because he'll no doubt give it the old shush one. Yeah. But I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, we have won our last 3 visits to Cambridge, so fingers crossed this afternoon we can do the same. And if we keep a clean sheet, well, it will certainly be a celebratory mood in this studio, that's for sure. Let's move on now, because it is a massive weekend for the club. It's a big game tomorrow for our women's side. They are travelling to Watford, to Vicarage Road, looking for 3 points that will hopefully help them in their charge up the table and potentially out of the Barclays Women's Championship into the Women's Super League. But our final home game of the season is also quickly approaching, and that is going to be hosted here at the Valley. Charlton Athletic taking on Southampton. You can purchase your tickets for that game by visiting the club website. That's April the 28th. So do make sure that you show your support for the girls and enjoy another afternoon out here. On to some more updates, and men's first team season tickets are now on sale, with supporters able to maximise savings by purchasing at Phase 1 pricing before 11:59 p.m. on Friday, May the 10th. Adult season tickets are available from as little as £310, which equates to just £13.48 per game, making them the most affordable in Sky League Bet 1. Brownie, Liz said on the week that given what he's seeing, there's something to really look forward to next season. Do you agree?
Yeah, you have to at this point with the results we've been getting. I mean, this team wasn't in a particularly good place, particularly after January. December and January was a real letdown because there was a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel in terms of, OK, we're looking all right here under Michael, and then it just completely and utterly fell apart. So to be in this position, I think, where you've gone 12 without a loss, and, you know, I think it's fair to say the Charlton supporters have taken to Nathan, and Nathan looks resilient in that seat and determined to make it work here. So with that in mind, I think it's probably a very good time to be purchasing the season ticket, because we've sat here for the best part of, what, 2-3 years? And by and large, it's been difficult times. And I'm hoping, you know, from sort of things that we hear and conversations we have, that we've kind of bottomed out and we are now on that upward curve. It certainly seems that way. So I think it's probably a good time to buy a season ticket.
Kevs, for Nathan, how important will it be to have that support, to have that backing early on?
Well, I think he's going to get backed by the board. I think that, and he has come in as a manager, and he talks like a manager for me, in terms of this is what I want, this is what I'm doing, as opposed, I don't know about titles, head coach, you know, whatever. But I think he's come in, he's the manager. And the first thing I think is George Dobson. I mean, that's an interesting one. What happens there? Because I'm a bit confused about it myself. But you know, is he going or staying? And you know, if he's going to stay, what have we got to do to keep him? Is he going to go, etc. So that's one thing that Nathan has got to sort out. But I think what I said earlier, and I know this for a fact, that you know, when he was available, he wanted to come to us, and he had to make a move for that to happen. And as opposed to perhaps us going out and getting someone, he wanted to come to us. He saw this as an opportunity. And you know, when you're out of work as a manager, you're sitting there, and things may come your way and you don't fancy it a little bit. But when this one came along, he's gone for it, and that's a little bit different, I think, and the feeling that he's got for the club. So yeah, I think it's going to be an important summer, because we've been languishing for too long. And it's got to turn around. It can't carry on. And you know, me and Brownie and Scott as well, that played here and managed here. I keep hearing the managers talk about the valley and the atmospheres and this and that. They ain't heard nothing yet. No. They haven't heard anything. And you know, if we can get this thing going, and suddenly the gates pick up and the fans get behind it, then this is a different place. And we've got to turn it into a different place to win promotion, because you've got to get majority of wins here. And at the moment, it's a bit like that, and I think that everyone needs a lift. And is that in the summer with the people coming in, or is it going to be the results, the start of the season? But either way, if we can get this thing going, it changes it completely here.
The last time we had it, I think, and it goes hand in glove with success, the last time I felt there was an atmosphere in here that we could remember and relate to was Doncaster. In the was it Doncaster in the playoff semi-finals? Yeah, that was an electric night. You know, if that's as close, I think, as come to feeling like it was when I was here as a player, was that Doncaster semi-final. It was electric that night, and that tells you can achieve that atmosphere in League One.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Nathan has spoken about the project and wanting to be here for the long term, and you purchasing a season ticket, you being a part of that, is going to be really, really important moving forwards. And if you would like to get involved with some of the hospitality, I know the three of us in the studio have always seen these adverts and certainly would take an interest. These are also available to look into now. You can visit the club website to find out a little bit more. Now, Brownie, before you went on holiday, you and Curbs looked back on the 1997-98 promotion, didn't you? And supporters can watch that in full if you go back to Charlton TV and find the match replay of our game against Stevenage. Curbs, today we're going to take a look at the 1999-2000 promotion. First question for you. After a difficult season, as manager, how quickly in your mind did you begin to plan for the following campaign? Well,
yeah, I think that, you know, it was a blow. And I remember it was at Villa, when we was at Villa, when you ended up in goal. We got a fantastic result. Yeah. But come off to find out that Southampton had won at Wimbledon, I think. Yeah. And, you know, we was banking on Wimbledon beating them. And I think Pards was actually at the game, the Wimbledon game. And he phoned Keith to say, like you know, Wimbledon, you know, didn't really do enough and whatever. So it all went down to the last game, and we blew it. And you know, Southampton beat Everton, I think, stayed up, and we've gone down. But you know, we was in a healthy position because winning promotion, and Richard Murray was the chairman. Winning promotion, we never spent all the money. We never went overboard with the contracts, etc. Knowing that if you got relegated, it's really difficult. That meant that summer we could really invest. We didn't have to sell players. I think Millsy went to Leeds, but we didn't really have to do too much in terms of that way, and we could bring players in, and I think that's exactly what we did. And you know, I think teams that get relegated, they end up losing. Perhaps they're better players, if you like, but they end up losing players, and it's the players that are left behind. They're the ones that you've got to look after. But we managed to turn that around and bring people in. So yeah, and obviously getting off to a good start and whatever.
Brownie, following relegation, what was the mentality like amongst the group?
Okay, actually, because I think Curbs said there wasn't. It's not like we went out and spent. We couldn't go out and spend millions and millions and millions of pounds. It just wasn't feasible for this football club at that time. So there was some strength in, but it wasn't enough. And we were hoping that we had enough in the dressing room to hang on to Premiership status, and we didn't. The key bit wasn't that for us. That's why I don't think we were particularly down. The key bit was, what's it going to look like when we walk back in the building? And it was exactly the same squad with additions. You're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm sure you brought in Kylie that summer, which I think is massive. No disrespect to any of the keepers we had. They were all good keepers, but he come here with Bury the year before, I think, and at Bury away, 2-0 nils, and he was the reason it remained 0-0 twice. And when he come through the door, and I think you added Pringle that summer, maybe, but it was all stronger players. So actually, out of that relegation came, well, hold on, we've actually got a better squad than we had last year. You've still got to get it done, and it's not like
Hunty come in.
Maybe that was that summer as well, Hunty as well. And so we're looking at it going, blimey, we're stronger. We're absolutely stronger, and no one left that you wouldn't have wanted to leave.
I remember two things. Barnsley giving a team talk at the end of it. John Barnes,
very good as well,
wasn't it? In over at Spowers Lane.
Can I quickly interject, because you used to have a fund like for fines and anything that the club would allow us to put into that pot, whatever was in it at the end of the season, you divide it by how many players there were, and everybody got a little, you know, kickback from
their money back.
Yeah, because it was our money. You know, it's not like it's anything illegally. It was our money that we'd put in, and we just divvied it up. And I remember Keith Jones called Barnes up and he went, John, you know, you haven't been here long, but, you know, you've been part of the squad, you've been brilliant. And he looked at it, he owned up Barnes, and he went, listen, you know, put it in the holiday fund. Just politely give it back, which I thought was
I remember
a really nice touch.
He stood up and said, you know, I'm off. Funny enough, he went off to Celtic as player coach, didn't he? Yeah. But he said, I'm off. He said, but let me tell you, boys, you're a fantastic bunch, blah, 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 and you're going to go straight back up next year. Yeah. I've got faith you're going to go straight back up. And so he left, and then I went and met Richard Murray to discuss what we were going to do. And I always remember his wife, we were sitting there like this having a cup of coffee, and his wife came in and said, stop talking football, just give him a new contract and get on with it. And get on with it.
Trust it to take a woman to sort out the important business, hey?
I've gone round there to discuss it, and I ended up getting a new contract, you know, coming out, and you know, which was a sign really that, you know, okay, we've gone up, come back down, but this is what we're going to do. And I've drove home thinking, I've gone round there thinking, oh, this could be a bit difficult, and I've come out with a new 3-year contract. But that gave me the confidence with all the staff and everything else that we were going to give it a right go. And that's exactly what happened.
It certainly is what happened, and the season got off to a wonderful start, a 3-0 victory against Barnsley and a Clive Mendonca hat-trick. Curbs, very early in the season, but did you know then that it could be the start of something special?
Well, no, because it is the start, but we knew we had a squad, you know, and it was hardened by the relegation. We managed to keep hold of
assist.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, am I going to have to tally up the amount of Brownie contributions to goals?
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's.
But we managed to keep hold of the players. As I say, I think Millsy went, but you know, 4.5 million, whatever we got for him, it was a good deal, and we couldn't stand in his way. Leeds, whatever, they was in Europe, etc. But we kept hold of him, that's for sure. And as I say, the players around it knew that with him and Hunty, we had a chance.
Charlton won 7 of their first 9 league games of the season, and given that relegation and how much it must have stung Brownie, that must have given you a sense that you were invincible.
No, do you know what? We weren't that kind of a team, sadly. It was just probably this guy on the left dampened spirits a little bit, because one of his things was not to get carried away, actually, and yeah, just offered too much cover there, Charlotte. Unfortunately, trying to bail out centre half, got done over the shoulder. But no, it wasn't like that. We weren't suffering relegation blues. We were looking forward to the season, and we'd gone from being a team in the mid-90s, struggling to score another assist here, no? Oh yeah, I won the penalty for us. So look at you.
What are you doing up there?
Yeah, I don't know. It's an overlap that I supposedly never did. But
Did you help pull today's show together, Brownie?
I just keep catching myself going, what? Yeah,
that was me. What do you mean?
But no, we didn't. I'm sorry, but I don't remember us coming back in feeling, you know, have the blues about the relegation. It was like, oh, Hunty's here. And we went from a team in the mid-90s that struggled to score goals. We weren't the best scorer. Pards finished top scorer with like 9 one year. We struggled. And then suddenly we'd had a Mendonca, and then we got a Hunt, and you're watching games like that going, yeah, we scored goals for fun. And you actually look at John Robinson's passing there to Mendonca, the run from Mendonca, the penalty. There was goals from everywhere. And there was a confidence, but Curbs just didn't allow you to run away with being confident. He just wouldn't allow it. And so across a 46-game season, it's why we sit here saying how difficult seasons are. You know you're going to hit a rough patch at some point, which we did, I think, at some point. We won 1 in 6 or something, and that's the rough patch. How did we come out the other side? We won like 12 on the trot.
Well, that was the point I was going to make, and that incredible, remarkable to win 12 games consecutively. That run began against Crystal Palace, so of course we're always going to use the opportunity to watch back a Crystal Palace win, and it was a really good game. I mean, do you savour these ones? You're wincing, Brownie. Have you seen something in the build-up there you didn't quite like?
Oh, I think that was my man. Yeah, and that's Merv's fault. Pitched me against the wrong player, I think. But if I'm...
That's good touch.
Yeah, listen, that's what I'm saying. There's goals right across this team. And so even when we were 1-0 down, there was no fear. There really wasn't. It was an extraordinary year for that. You know, if we went 1-0 down, 2-1 down, we always felt like we had enough goals to come back and win. You know, this guy, I've said it before and I'll say it again, you know, Clive was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, but Hunty just had the ability, aerially, left, right, you know, run the channels. I've got a funny feeling. There's another assist coming here, Curbs. I think someone has tried to do me a right. Yeah, what a ball that is. You can't defend them, Charlotte. You can. A little 1-2 in Newts, round the corner, across the 6-yard line. Oh, no, we're Hunty.
Yeah, we had a bit of pace.
You can't defend that, Curbs.
We had a bit of pace, didn't we?
He's not having it.
No, I'm interested in seeing the players, John Solarco and...
Yeah.
Pringle. So
about those two, like, how important a contribution did they play? Solarco scoring against his former club, of course.
Yeah, I know. I just we brought in a bit of pace, and we brought in some men who have been about and understood it, and once again wanted to come to us. You know, it wasn't a question that we threw money at them and all that sort of thing, because we weren't in that situation. But they wanted to come to us, and I remember especially meeting Hunty, who I think he might have just got relegated at West Brom. I can't remember now, but he was at West Brom, and there was a few people after him, and you know, I met him, and he wanted to come. You know, that was the first thing he said before he even started talking about money or whatever. He wanted to come. You know, it was good.
We hear coaches at the club within the academy, and also I think Nathan's made the point as well about wanting a good person as well as a player. Did that form part of your recruitment strategy as well?
I mean, I worked just as hard on that. I mean, I got it wrong on a couple of occasions. But, you know, mainly I sought as much as I could. Listen, when you're looking at footballers, everyone can see they can play, you know. But you know, you've got to find out if they can fit in that dressing room and understand it, and you know, not be a bit of a pain. And you know, we got it wrong a couple of times, or maybe even more than that. But if we did, we got them out.
Right, I was going to interject there, because it didn't hang around long if they didn't fit in with that group. They didn't. The group sort of half sorted out, and then Curbs would get wind of it, and generally that player was moved on pretty quickly, or as quick as a club can move a player on. It's not easy to do that.
It just feels like there was so much clarity in absolutely everything, from the recruitment to the stability of you being given the contract to the roles that the players were asked to do. Clarity in the fact that Steve Brown obviously came up with a few assists, and I think you even got on the score sheet in one of those games against Wolves, 2-0.
Well,
no, sadly not.
Oh.
No. I'm joking. Of course we are, Brownie. I can't use the opportunity to not show a Steve Brown goal. So this is the win.
They were quite rare.
They were a collector's item.
Yeah, they were quite rare. Yeah, I mean, at this point we are flying, right? At this point, I didn't see the date of that game, but it's like I said, this was my favourite season by some distance as a football player. Wherever I played, and the majority of it was at Charlton. This was by some distance the most enjoyable year I had in football. It was an absolute pleasure to get on that pitch most weeks, and there was a camaraderie within this group, which obviously is enhanced by results and a successful season. But it was just bouncing into the training ground, result after result. Yeah, he could have had 40, couldn't he? Could have beat Ailsey's record.
I hope he's watching.
We've got a message in from Phil here saying that this season was wonderful, and he felt like one of the unsung heroes of that year was Martin Pringle. Lots of people got on his back because he didn't score a lot, but he worked his socks off and provided lots of assists. When he got injured late on in the campaign, we really missed him. Yeah. Phil asks, what do you two think of that?
Yeah, Pringle was a brilliant addition, because obviously you've got a front two that can score goals, so he probably had to be patient that year. I don't know how many appearances Martin made that year, but whenever he came in, he was another guy. He had pace, he could work the channels, you could turn teams around, get your line up nice and high, so first ball out you can challenge up. Oh wow.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
No, but he could change it as well, with his pace, a good sub.
You're not going to say well done, then? Oh, look at that as well. You must have thought I was all right. I got the captain's armband on as well, in a season that we've won the league.
Blimey.
Yeah, I was better than I thought I was, I think. I honestly think I was a little bit better than I gave myself credit for.
For the last game of the season, if the guys at the club can hear this, can we please just do a Steve Brown compilation? Give the people what they want, hey? Even just sitting down and listening to you guys reminisce and go over that season, it brings a big smile to my face. Just how much did you enjoy it, Curbs?
Well, I always went into games thinking that we're going to win them. Yeah, sure. You never had any doubt that we was going to get turned over. Obviously we did, but we was confident in our ability, and also whoever was put in that 11, went out and done their best, and we always had people on the bench. And I think people that came onto the pitch, there was never any grumbling when they come off. It was like, we're in this together, and I've made a decision to bring you off to put you on, because I think that's going to change the game. There was no aggravation. We had a great squad. Yeah,
you had lads there. That Graham Stewart just scored that goal, and I think maybe he wasn't. Maybe I'm being out of order, but he flew under the radar a bit for me, because he was an exceptional player, very, very football intelligent, played out on the right, but just came inside. It was almost impossible to pick up. Pitched him with a little goal there. I remember him scoring one at Newcastle, I think, or Everton, one of those where he just pops up. As well, great lad. I've run with him for a bit, and he was a terrific lad. And you talk about people enhancing your dressing room. He was another one that came in, and you don't know him, and he comes in, just a great lad and a really good footballer.
Well, someone who has enhanced the Charlton dressing room this season following his move in January is Connor Coventry, and it's no surprise really that since he's had a run in the team, our form has improved as well. Charlton TV caught up with Connor earlier this week.
Good afternoon, Connor. First of all, point on Tuesday evening. That's 12 games unbeaten now. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, I thought we played well. I think we created a lot of chances, and I think we played with a real intensity from sort of start to finish. I just think, obviously, we want to start seeing out games and winning games, taking our chances, and also obviously not giving away goals. But I think there's a lot of positives to take as well.
And obviously, you signed for the club in January. Something that supporters were crying out for throughout the whole season was a lack of identity in our play style. Do you think we've sort of developed that under Nathan Jones now?
Yeah, definitely. I think you can watch us and see what we're trying to do. Obviously, the gaffer works a lot on his patterns and us showing that in the games. And he spoke to us a few weeks ago and wasn't happy with one of the performances and sort of said didn't see our identity. And I think since that it's been shown even stronger really. And I think you can really see what we're trying to do and the intensity we're trying to play at.
And something that's claimed here by many of the players so far is the sort of impact Nathan Jones has brought on the work rate and the efforts in training as well as the games. What is it about his beliefs and standards that you say are the positives of working underneath him?
Yeah, I think obviously you said the word there, standards. I think he doesn't really let anything slip on the training pitch. You can make 99 great passes, the 100 one's wrong, and he's on you, and that's what I think we need. And I think to try and kick on and obviously be where we want to be, that's what we all need as a group, as individuals. It can only help you improve, and I think it's just driving really high standards every day, and just pushing everyone to their limits, really, I think.
And signing here from West Ham, there must have been interest from across the country. What was it about the Charlton project that made you sort of buy into it and want to come here?
Yeah, no, I spoke a lot with obviously people at the club, and I thought the belief of what could happen here, and obviously the size of the club as well, and sort of the potential of what could come. And I think obviously the fans are probably starting to see a glimpse of it now, and hopefully next season we can really kick on and take that to the next level.
And reflecting back on your time at West Ham, spending over a decade in East London, a historically fantastic club for development, how did you find your time there?
Yeah, great. Obviously, it's hard to sum it up over 13 years. So I went there as a 10-year-old, and obviously it's my local team. So I was proud to play there, and obviously play for the first team, and great memories. And yeah, I'll always obviously take it with me, and learn a lot of things there. And I'm so thankful for everything they've done for me.
And you also had an opportunity to play a role in their Conference League trophy run. That must have been a fantastic opportunity representing the club on the European stage. Yeah,
of course, it was great. Like obviously, getting to play away games, home games, obviously in front of our own fans, and just being a part of it. Obviously, I wasn't involved in the latter parts. I was out on loan, but it was great to be there at the final, and just experience it. Obviously, we had the parade afterwards, and yeah, it was an incredible few days, really.
And you mentioned there obviously being out on loan. What was that sort of like, being out on loan, then coming back and knowing you played a part in it in front of the 10,000 West Ham fans there? Yeah,
no, great. I think the atmosphere in the ground was like amazing. It was obviously, like you said, packed to West Ham fans. The whole city was. And yeah, to be fair, I was obviously a bit nervous watching, and the lads obviously done well and got the win, and it was just crazy to see the scenes, really.
And coming back to Charlton now, we've been on a solid run since Nathan Jones's arrival, competing with the best teams in the division, might I add. Do you think that's the foundations have sort of been laid for next season? It's a chance to push on and look towards that top end of the table?
Well, I think so. I think obviously a manager of Nathan's calibre wouldn't be coming here just to solidify in this league, really. I think obviously he'll be aiming to get promoted, and I know myself and all the lads really want to get promoted as well, and well, I say get promoted, really win the league, really. I think that's the aim, and look, we can't get too ahead of ourselves. We've got a lot to do, and there's obviously a summer to work hard and be ready for, but I think you can see the direction we're going in, and we just have to take that to the next stage now.
A great chat there with Connor, speaking to Charlton TV's Alex Forrest. So here is the team news. These are the lineups for both Cambridge United and Charlton Athletic. If you are just joining us, 3 changes for both. The headline news from a Charlton perspective is up top, and that Connor Wickham is handed his first start for the Addicts. Tyrese Campbell coming into the team, and Tyreek Backinson also handed a start as well. Brownie, what sort of test are you expecting Cambridge to pose?
Well, up until recently, I would have said not too much of a test, but they lost 9 of the last 13. But in recent weeks, they've had a couple of great results actually, and have got themselves that 5 points gap, which does take the pressure off a little bit. Like I said, they've got Port Vale to come, which I think is a massive game. We're in decent form, so they'll be expecting a strong test today. But if they can somehow find a win, I think that goes a long way for their survival, in terms of they must think in the back of their minds we're almost there. So it's a big game for them in that respect. If they can get a win today, League One survival's almost done. But we're a side at the moment that's very difficult to beat. So I can't see Cambridge winning this one, but I'm buoyed by the last 2 results where I wasn't here, so maybe I'm getting carried away.
Cambridge have 2 wins in 10, and they haven't scored in 6. We're unbeaten in the last 6 away games, Curbs. Which of our players do you think is going to have a really important afternoon?
Well, I think Wickham. I think that obviously he's come in, he's on trial, if you like, and seeking a contract, and now he's being given a game to show everybody, not just Nathan, but to show everybody that he should be getting a contract next year. So yeah, I can see why Nathan's changed it around a bit. He wants to keep the run going, but he has got to see a few people, and it'd be interesting because it looks as if we've got 1 or 2 people playing in positions we don't think perhaps we're not used to seeing them. So he obviously thinks that they can play this, and he wants to see them in a proper game.
I think our back line
Yeah.
needs to keep a clean sheet. I think they're under the microscope as well. Maybe even Isted as well. You know, you can't have the season we've had in terms of not being able to keep clean sheets, giving away goal after goal after goal, without not being under